Hey guys, how you doing? Give it another minute or so because I think I started like 2 minutes early. So grab yourself a coffee if you need one. Hello, Miss Maddie. Hi, baby. Hi there. Do you want to come and say hello? Do you want to come and say hello, Miss Maddie? No, she wants a snack. What about you, Boo? Do you want to say hi? Say hello. What a good boy. Tell everybody what you've been up to. Tell everyone what you've been up to. What have you been doing? What have you been doing? Nothing. Have you just woke up? You did? Okay. You just woke up. You're a good boy. Don't come up and say hello? Don't come up and say it. No, you want to go get snacks as well. Okay, go get snacks then. Good boy. Good boy. Yes. You're a good boy. Go get snacks. Hey guys. Oh, lots of people. Blue Malva. Hi, Marianne. Our first South African One Book Julia. Burgess, Brenda, Ina, Lisa, Kelly, Tabata, Inlay, is that right? Bad with names, worse with faces. Cody, hi guys. Just reorganising things again. Excellent. I remember because I've been watching your videos, Marianne. They're very interesting. I always find it interesting to watch other people's videos who are like basically CEOs of their own company, because that's what I do. I may be a YouTuber and an artist, but basically I'm a CEO of my own company and I have a lot of things to do. So it's always interesting to see someone who's talking about things like business accounts and morning routines for business stuff. Because I don't have a morning routine for me, but once I sit down to work, I have a set series of things that I do every day. A series of places to check in, albeit social media. It's still stuff that I need to check in with. So it's really interesting to see how you do it. Hi, Barbara. Thank you. JW, I missed your question. I'm sorry, I didn't see your question in the previous surgery. You were talking about combining work and personal and getting overwhelmed with tasks. I hope I'll talk about how to try and move some of your tasks out of your daily logs and signify them as different things, or move them to not due today or due later. Has helped you out some. Another option you can do is using a specific signifier for work that's quick and easy to draw, like a triangle, like I use for some stuff. A triangle would put a earmark on that being work. Or another thing you could do is immediately after your calendar page, where you have your calendar and your tasks for the month, keep those tasks as personal tasks, and then immediately start a collection straight after of monthly tasks for work. And shovel your work stuff in there. So if it's not due today, it doesn't go on today's list. That could help too. If you really are overwhelmed with the amount of work tasks you have, because everybody has a different number of work tasks and it can't all be logged in tracking and stuff. Another way of doing it is to split out stuff that you do every single day or every single week, or repetitive tasks that you do regularly, is to split them out into some sort of a tracker in their own collection. But certainly I think having a page just for work tasks for the month immediately after your monthly log for personal stuff would probably help you if you've got a real mountain of work notes. That tends to happen if you're an admin and your workload is piled on you by somebody else. You tend to end up with a really long list of to-dos. I know what that feels like. I've been a personal assistant. So I hope that helps you out some. Risha, hi. We're still on for 8 o'clock. Yeah, you didn't put it in caps. That's the rule. If you have a question that you need answering, or if you need help with something, you need to write it in caps. I will not see it if you don't put it in caps. Okay? Put your questions in caps. Today's surgery, last week's surgery, we focused on things that you were having trouble implementing or getting started with. This week we're looking at things that you're having trouble keeping going with because you simply don't see the point. And this follows on from, hey Pelican, hey Marie, Amber. This follows on from yesterday's idea of me changing my index and changing my future log to fit with something that I understand the long-term use of. So if you haven't seen that video, I'll just give you a very quick overview of what I'm talking about. So Monday's video, I missed yesterday, I was having a flare day. What I've done with my index, instead of just having one big long list, I'm dyslexic, I don't have time for all that. I wasn't using my index, it didn't function for me because it was just a long list of stuff that I had to wade through and try and find the word I was looking for, when it became easier to just flip through this way and look for my signifiers and go, oh, there's my One Book July page. You know, it just wasn't working. So I've split it out. This is my mundane list. So this is simply split by June, July, August, and so on. And underneath are the collections that I've created in that month that don't fit anywhere else. Okay, so they are things like my Urban Sketches group meetings. They are standalone. They're orphans, basically. Media Rex, that's an orphan collection. Video Ideas, that's an orphan collection because it fits multiple sections. And it really is just a list of ideas that I have for different things. Then at the top, I've split this into my 3-month passion projects, basically. My monthly passion projects, my monthly things that I know I'm going to be working on. So July, I've actually split July into One Book July and the bullet journal method, just so that it's easier to see which is to do with One Book July admin and which is to do with the bullet journal method specifically. I still haven't updated this. I need to do that. I'm trying to only update my index as and when it's relevant. I don't constantly update it because I'm not really using it at the moment, but using it this way, I'm seeing a use for it. So this is July's passion project. This is August's passion projects. I've only got little odd bits of notes and things that I want to know later on, but I don't have enough to create a collection yet. So I'm simply making notes of what pages I've put things on. If I have an idea, like I had an idea for the name of the podcast, up here, so I've put that on. I've got some notes for what I want to do. I've got some notes on another page of stories I want to cover, so I'm going to put that in there. August, I'm going to be working on my studio and some charity stuff that I need to get done, so I've just made some notes in here. So these are my next 3 passion projects. Instead of having it all in the future log, I've noted it here when it's actually on a page. And then down here, I've got my kind of work stuff, really. So all of my Patreon stuff, which is mostly lists on pages. So it's a lot of pages, but only one number and lots of information on those pages. And then this is my witchy stuff, which is connected to my work stuff and also my personal stuff. And it's enough to put it out on its own. So I've got astrology stuff, I've got tarot stuff, I've got spell work, I've got notes, all sorts of things, journaling, but not very many subjects, but lots of pages for each one. So that's on a wide one. So that's how I've set that up to make it easier to find things. So if I know something is to do with the podcast, I know it's there because my brain works spatially. So I know whereabouts on the page it will be, if that makes sense. And that hopefully means that this mundane list will give me a better idea of where orphaned stuff that I don't really know where it would be, make it easier to find. And then my future log, I've changed it to a future index. And this is just a list of things that I'm treating this like I treat my monthly task list. So it's like this. I've added an extra flip up page for this, by the way, because I was running out of space. It's similar to this, but this is what's due this month, and this is what's due in coming months. So I'll refer to this when I come to August page and October page and so on. I know what's coming up. It's just so that I can keep an idea in my head. The MOT's due on August the 1st. I know it's due, etc., etc., but I need to always have it in my head every time I review, because by the time I get to August the 1st, it'll be too late because it's due at the beginning of the month. So, yeah, I'm just keeping tabs on things rather than trying to catalogue it out into future stuff. If I think of it as a log, it doesn't make sense to me, because logs are stuff that's already happened, whereas a log, an index, is a cross-reference. It can also be things that are coming up. So by changing it to this, I'm thinking about it in a different way. Somebody did say to me that if you do a lot of events future planning rather than tasks and notes, which is what I've got. I don't have a lot of events. Any events go in my calendar. I trust my Google Calendar 100% because A, I've been using it for 10 years. B, I back it up automatically to my iMac calendar. And C, I back it up manually once a week. So I have no problem with trusting my Google Calendar. So I don't have a reason to have a future log for events, but it is handy to know what I want, what I plan to be working on in the future without having to put it as a task now. It's kind of a holding pen, if you like. And as I said, I've just added a tab. I took a page out of a Moleskine Cahier because they are perforated at the back, so they're nice and easy to tear out without demolishing your book. And I just trimmed it down so it was a little bit easier to fit it on the page, and I've stuck it with a bit of tape runner at the top here so that I can still see the pages underneath, but it won't bulk up the spine too much. Next month, seeing how many monthly tasks I have, and that I'm on a second page already, I may decide to leave this page immediately afterwards. I may have a second monthly task page because I don't want to keep adding tip-ins. I'm not a big fan of tip-ins. Okay, so we're looking at things that you're struggling to keep going with because you don't really see the point. If your bullet journal is not a planner, then how do you plan? Good question. Good question. I like it. Let me just scroll up and make sure I didn't miss any. Okay, so if your bullet journal is not a planner, then how do you plan? The point is that you're thinking about what your goals are, what you're trying to do. I think it depends on how you view a planner. If your planner is simply a list of what you have to do today and where you have to be, then you're not really thinking of a planner as a planner, you're thinking of it as a calendar. It's a calendar of events. If you think of your planner more in terms of why you're doing things, then the journaling part makes more sense because you're fleshing out ideas, you're coming up with what most people call brain dumps. Ryder refers to them as mental inventories, I think, just logging everything that's in your head. And kind of seeing your plans as long form journaling rather than just a series of events. So everything you write down, you're asking yourself basically 3 questions. Is it vital? Is it important to me or someone I love? And why am I doing it? Now, the first two questions in theory should answer why you're doing it. But if you've already given a reason for both of those and you've said, yeah, it's important, let's get on with it. The next question is why. Why am I creating a podcast? Am I doing it because I listen to a lot of podcasts and it sounds like a fun idea at the time? Or do I actually want to do it? Do I actually have reasons that will help me carry through when I get to a point where I'm like, oh, I really don't want to record today. Oh my God, why did I sign up for this? And reminding yourself why you're doing something. So it doesn't just become a constant list of, I have to do this, I need to do this, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, and you're just sailing through your days, following this random list of tasks that you're not really thinking about. So it's more to do with planning in the sense of reasoning out your goals and how you're going to get there, rather than just a planner as in a calendar. Okay? Does that help, Mary? Yeah, my index is a quick reference guide because I need to be able to visualize. I cannot visualize and I cannot just use a random list. A random list does not work for me. I'm dyslexic. I cannot just pick out keywords. If you are good at picking out keywords and scan reading, one long list is probably going to work for you. But it does not work for me. I need a visual. And for me, knowing at least which block it's going to be on the page shortens the amount of time. Ryder talks a lot about shortening the amount of decisions you have to make. If every time I go to my index, my brain immediately goes, do I really want to try and find something in this long list, or will it be quicker to flip through? Then I'm immediately removing that decision if I go to my index and I already know that it's somewhere on here about halfway down this block. Because my brain will remember that. It won't necessarily remember what's there, but it will know where on the page I'm looking. So if I can immediately go to here and know it's one of these 4 or 5, then that narrows down the time and that removes that decision of should I use my index or should I just flip through the book, look for it. Mary's paper, you can use a digital planner or like I do, stick in a monthly calendar. I have a monthly as I've got kids and pets that need to keep their schedules as well. Yes, if you've got somebody else you need to keep a schedule for, then either use a digital calendar for your events so you can stay on top of everything. I use Google Calendar. Or, as Amber says, just put in a monthly traditional calendar so that you can see everything at a glance of what's going on. That's really the only spread from the artistic BuJo community that I would suggest definitely having if you need to keep on top of other people's schedules, or if you need to keep on top of, say, a non-repetitive work schedule. Like you work different shifts every week, you work different hours. Maybe you are doing a school run share with other families and you take each other's kids to school and you need to know what weeks you're doing it and what weeks you're not. That is absolutely a great way to keep on top of those little things in one place on a monthly calendar spread. I don't personally need it because I have set appointments during the week. I run my own business, it's all in my head. And because all this isn't in my head, I'm no longer stressing about, oh, am I going to remember to print Ulrich's stuff out for her private session she has? I've already done it. I knew I needed to do it. I've done it. It didn't even make the task list this morning because I've already done it. So, yeah. Not thinking of absolutely everything must go into my bullet journal. Maddie! Baby, hi. What are you crying for? Not thinking of it as absolutely everything must be in my bullet journal or I'm not doing it right. And at the same time, I must write everything down that's important. So it's really filtering out what's not important for me. Appointments aren't important. They're only important that I make sure that I'm there. The actual what I'm going to do when I'm there is what needs to be in my book. The appointment itself doesn't need to be in my book because my book can't give me a reminder where my phone can go beep, 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 15 minutes and you've got a class. You need to be sat at your computer. I'm like, oh, okay. You don't use your index because, oh, Scrolled too far. Lost the. Oh, I lost it. Oh, I don't use my index because I don't really make notes or longhand journaling in my BuJo. Yeah, if you don't feel you need an index, then you don't need an index. But it's useful to have an index, even if it's only splitting it by month. Just saying, June starts here or July starts here. Of course, if you use tabs or something, or you've just put a bit of washi tape or a signifier or something on your page to show where June starts, where July starts, or it doesn't matter because you don't really use dates, then that's perfectly fine. You don't have to use an index if you really don't believe you're going to use it. But Cody, you use your bullet journal in a very different way because you don't even do reflections. You're using it all day, every day, all the time. It never leaves your hand. So you're working with it a lot more closely than most people would be. Yes, Cody did a bullet journal intro today. Go and check her out. Semantics matter more than many realise. Yeah. If renaming something helps you get it through your head, that's great. Yes, exactly. They really do. It's like my pet hate. I have a pet hate for the word entrepreneur. I know I am one, but I'm never going to ever refer to myself as that because the word entrepreneur sounds pretentious as it is, without getting into all the self-proclaimed social media gurus, It always makes me think of that one sad guy in a suit who used to do sales, and now he's on Twitter as a self-proclaimed social media guru but only has 200 followers. It just I don't want to be associated with that. I'm a goddamn CEO, okay? I don't use the future log. I've done a calendex and put the page number to each event, etc. that relates to it because I'm too lazy to rewrite. Absolutely. If that works for you, again, if a calendex works better than a future log, that's perfectly fine. I don't understand calendexes. I actually look at them and think, I think that actually would work for me better because it's just a series of numbers and blocks, but I don't understand it. I'm not good with numbers. I'm not a maths person. I don't know if it needs maths or anything, but there's just something about the calendex that I don't get. I think if I did get it, it probably would help an awful lot, and it would make a lot of difference to how I use my future log or my future index. But it just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand it. And I don't have time at the moment to be bothered to understand it. So maybe at some point I'll put it on my list and go, look at calendex properly and actually talk to somebody who understands it and uses one and see what it's all about. But at the moment, I don't have enough time to worry about how it works to try and implement it. Funny thing with me is I find a task list less daunting than a to-do list. Yeah, absolutely. To-do feels like you've got to do it today. That's why I like calling my daily log a daily log, because it doesn't feel like this is what I've got to do today. It doesn't feel like a planner. And a task list, things that you want to do, go on a task list. It's a list of tasks that you've decided are worth your time. A to-do list feels like somebody else is imposing on you and then you've lost control. So I'm totally with you there, Serpent. I absolutely... I've banned the word to-do from my planner, from my journals, from everywhere. I don't have to-do lists anymore. If something is either a task that I want to get done, and then that doesn't feel like it has to be done today, so I have that time to choose where I log it, as opposed to I must do this, you immediately feel like it has to go on today as a to-do. And today and to-do are like... A task is so much more free and easy, right? It does make a difference. The semantics do make a difference. Hey, Susan. I need to see my month all at once in a traditional way or my life goes to hell. Yeah, some people do. Some people do have to see it that way. I don't plan or work or think much more than 3 days in advance. most of my monthly stuff is actually work stuff, and it's more a record of what I have done in the previous month. And then this month is more just a list of tasks. So my future, like my July stuff, I penciled in a kind of diary way. If you watch the chat on my Patreon, you'll see this in action. I sat and worked out exactly what we were going to do for... Yeah, see, it's easier to come here and go page 28. I worked out during the chat what we all wanted to do. And then once I'd finished sketching that in pencil, I came back here and I created a list of videos. So this is the list of videos we're going to do. The study guides that we're going to do, when it's due, and whether I've done it or not. Have I planned for it? Have I done it? And have I uploaded the replay video? I missed yesterday's study guide. Sorry, guys. I meant to post this morning. I was going to say Mercury. Just go and research Mercury. That's a big enough one. Mercury and black moons. That's what our study guide is. But I will post later today. I had a flare day yesterday, and then I had a hangover from it this morning, and I'm still kind of recovering, but I feel a bit better now I'm up and doing something. That's something else I wanted to mention. I actually posted it on my Instagram earlier. Rose BuJo, all one word, like the title in the video. Tuesday I had a flare day. Now, in the book, it says, if you need to miss a day, miss a day. Don't ever, your bullet journal meets you where you are. So if you've skipped a few days, you've skipped a few days. You never have to worry about it. You just turn the page and start a new page. And that's fine. I have no problem with that. Me now, I don't care that I missed yesterday. It doesn't bother me. I'm a bit bummed that I missed my reflection last night because I was asleep and I hadn't done anything anyway. But, you know, it happens. But I know that my inner librarian, who I affectionately call Nora, will not be happy when she comes to review things at the end of the month and there's no Tuesday the 9th. She'll come bothering me about, well, why isn't there a Tuesday the 9th? What were you doing that day? Where were you? Why weren't you bullet journaling? Were you being lazy? Huh? Were you being lazy? Were you just not doing it because you couldn't be bothered? Huh? And I really need a reason to give to her to say, oi, zip it. Flare day, spent the day in bed. So rather than knowing that future Nora would stress out about this and demand an explanation, I simply wrote at the bottom of Monday the 8th. I didn't start a new page or anything. I just put on the bottom of Monday the 8th why nothing happened on Tuesday. At the same time, it's a log of my medical things. So I've been able to cross-reference that to my medical stuff. So future Nora is happy, and it was minimal work for me because it was something that I actually could do with logging anyway, because it'd be useful for my doctor at the end of the day. Incidentally, a few people have asked me, I've said, flip your book and use the back for stuff that is super important, like that one collection that you absolutely must have access to. Okay? A few people have said, what do you mean by flip your book? This is what I mean. Okay? That's what I mean by flip your book. I have all of my medical notes and stuff in here with all my meds, all my review dates, all of that stuff. And I will use this column to cross-reference. Like in here, I will put page, whatever it is, 41, I think it is, flare day. And I don't have to double write the stuff because I've got it indexed. I know where it is. But I don't want to put that in my general index. I want to put it with my medical notes. So it's all here together. Another reason for doing this is because this is very private information. I don't want to share it with everybody. So I don't want it showing when I'm flipping through my journal. Most of my journal is not personal. It's just stuff that's going through my head, and if it's going through my head, it tends to come out of my mouth anyway, so you've already heard it. There's nothing written in here that is so personal that I cannot share it, except for that one page at the back that I'd prefer to keep private. Once I looked at it as more than a planner, I filled 50 pages just this month, and I'm actually getting more things done because I don't forget my ideas. Exactly, Laura. That's exactly what's happening to me. Exactly what's happening to me. I'm looking at it in so much more of a planner that I'm getting all the crap out of my head into my bullet journal. And because I'm not having to shuffle all those ideas and remember things, and it's all going on in my head, and, ooh, what about this as an idea? As soon as I have an idea, I write it down. Even if it's only 2 words, I write it down. It gives me a reminder in my reflection, and then in my reflection, I can go through and go, oh, okay, yeah, I want to expand on that. And I then create a task in my monthly list or a note in my monthly list, or I say, well, that's to do with the podcast. I know I'll put that in my future log to look at next month. And then I've still got that idea there. I can look at it later. Oh, sorry, I keep scrolling up too far. I've popped my chat out and for some reason it scrolls much faster. Lisa, what spreads and collections, what is the purpose of each? Are they different? A spread is a 2-page. This is a spread. A spread is a physical thing. A spread. Okay? So all of my collections, for instance, I won't show you that one because it's got names on. I don't know if people would be comfortable with me specifically sharing their names. But let me find you a collection. Right, this is my astrology for July. This is a notes collection based on my astrology for July. Okay? This is a spread. The stuff that's written on it is a collection, and the collection is for Astrology July 2019, specific to these things, this timeline that I've written up here. Okay? A collection is a series of things that you've identified that go together. So, for instance, at the moment, I have in my list here, I have Media and Recs on page 6, 8 and 13. Now, I only have 3 recommendations for media and books that I want to read. At some point, I will create a full collection. But at the moment, it's only 3 things on 3 different pages. To me, that doesn't warrant an entire spread. Because when I do a spread, I don't use one page. If this page is one book July, so is this page. If this page is astrology, so is this page. That's a spread. If this page is a daily log, so is this page. That's a spread, but it's not a collection. It's actually 2 collections because it's Friday, June the 28th and Saturday, June the 29th. Okay? So it's all to do with physically thinking about your book. For me, the reason I do 2-page spreads for my collections is when I'm flipping through, because I'm a lefty, I'm usually flipping through like this. So I'm really only looking at this side of the page. That's why I use these signifiers up here as well, because it's easier to see what I'm looking for. Oh, Passion Project, 1 book July, right? But also I know that if I flip through and this side of the page says Studio Vision Board, this side of the page is also Studio Vision Board, even if I'm not using it yet. Because the chances are, if I've started something as a collection because I feel it warrants a 2-page spread, I'm going to use those 2 pages at some point before the end of the book. Or at least start the 2nd page. And if I don't start the 2nd page, it's not a big deal. It's only 1 page. But the key for me is to not start a collection until I feel like it warrants being on a 2-page spread. To me, 3 media recommendations doesn't warrant a 2-page spread. When it gets up to like 5, half a dozen, 10, something like that, or if I suddenly have a whole load of them, because what happens is I'll mention a podcast and then loads of people will DM me and go, do you listen to this? Do you listen to that? And I'm like, oh my God, loads of podcasts. At that point, I will put in my task list, in my daily log, create a media and Rex collection, and then I will add the media and Rex collection to this. Quiet, Maddie. I will add the media and Rex collection to this index. And I will probably shift these things onto that list. So I'll cross these out and I'll put the media and Rex collection name. I have absolutely no problem using whiteout in my bullet journal. Whiteout is your best friend. Get one of these. They're amazing. Just get one, okay? Not unless you're writing fountain pen. If you're writing fountain pen, then tough. But if you're writing anything else, just get yourself one of these. It saves so much time. I would rather cross it out and start again and have it visually easy to read than try and struggle crossing things out. Ugh. I don't like dead spiders all over my page. Right. Currently using what I think of as a practice bullet journal because the only way I could get myself to do it was to give myself for it to be permission to be crap. Well, that's the whole point. It's supposed to be all the crap that's in your head. It doesn't matter if it's crap. Why does it matter if it's crap? That's what you need to get down to. That's some personal work for you. Why does your bullet journal have to not be crap? If what's going round your head is a jumbled mess of all sorts of crap, expect your book to be a jumbled mess of all sorts of crap when you start. Your brain isn't organised thinking, so why would your book be? I'm only finding this as organised as it is because this is about my 6th time of going through the bullet journal and trying to implement it. And it's only this time that I've read the book that I'm actually getting it to work. I'm being very purist about it. I'm not using anybody's ideas or suggestions unless they address a particular issue I'm having with something in the book or unless it came out of the book or Rider's mouth. Anything else I'm discounting because I spend too much time going, oh, that's a really good idea, and then implementing it and finding it doesn't work. So anybody's ideas that I think, that's interesting, I've got a list. I'll look at them later. Maybe they are interesting or they could work for other people, but actually what I'm doing is easier for me. In which case I can cross it out and never worry about it again. But I think you need to address why you think you need to give your self permission for your book to be crap. And don't give me the, oh, I'm a perfectionist thing. Perfectionist is just being a control freak. If you are a control freak, having a bullet journal is the best thing ever. So just roll with it. Allow it to be crap. Be crap. If you do have to think of it as a practice journal, then go ahead and think of it as a practice journal. But really, that's just a way of getting around yourself. What you really need to address is why you feel it needs to be not crap in the first place. Because then calling it a practice journal sticks a band-aid on it and allows you to get on with your day. Okay? You still need the tetanus shot to solve the problem. She's a wordsmith. She'll get that. Do you have a calendar as tasks on paper? The BuJo is the brain dump. No, my calendar. No, my calendar is in here. My phone runs my life, which is why it's always charging, or being charged, or fully charged. My calendar scares people because my calendar looks like that. That is my calendar. But I've been using this calendar for 10 years and it works for me. Everything is colour coded. Everything is repeat appointments if necessary. All future events are in here. All important reminders are in here. Like if I have to pick up medication, that's super important. I must not forget it. I can write it on a task in my bullet journal and that's fine. But I might not look at my bullet journal before the pharmacy closes. It's far more important for me to have a reminder first thing in the morning that says, don't forget you have to go and pick up your meds today. I can then plan that into my day. But my Google Calendar tells me what I have to do every day. So when I'm looking at my Google Calendar, I only use this view, which is the 3-day view. Because at work, I'm usually keeping an eye on what's going on today, which is the doing. And then I'm planning for 3 days' time or 2 days' time. And then tomorrow's stuff should already be done, but I need to just double check that everything is set up and ready. So this is a double checklist, and this is you need to start doing this list. This is it's done, you just need to be there. And then my actual calendar is my single day. So every day my calendar comes up here. This is what's happening today, which includes any reminders that come up today, or, you know, my BuJo check-in. That's what I'm doing right now, 5 till 7. Then I've got a creative session with someone at 8 o'clock. And right next to that is the weather for the day. So if one of these things involves me going out, I know when I can fit that in, that I won't get soaked or whatever. I've also got my Lawanda list, which is my work admin, which I share with KK. So anything that I'm not doing but I've handed off to her, or that she's given back to me because she's worked on it and she needs me to check it or go through it or sign it off, it goes in here. And then I've also got above that my BuJo widget. So if I don't have my bullet journal with me, I'm out with the dogs, I'm in the shower, whatever, I always have my phone with me. So if I have an idea or I think of something, it just goes straight into there, and I pull it out and put it in my book later on in the day when I do my reflection. So no, I don't have a calendar and task list on paper. I have my calendar is in my phone, which I completely trust to tell me when things are, because everything is set up with notifications. I habitually set up things with a notification for 12 hours before, so I get a reminder first thing in the morning for something in the evening, or the night before for something first thing in the morning. I habitually set up a notification 2 hours before, because if I feel like I need a nap, that means I have time to finish off what I'm doing, go and have a nap, and then wake up and start again. And I habitually have a 15-minute notification for just before things are supposed to start. I completely trust Google Calendar to remind me about that. But my bullet journal is also not just a brain dump. It's everything that's going on in my head. But you think of a brain dump as something that you do, oh, I can't concentrate anymore, my head's overwhelmed, I need to do a brain dump. Well, we all know what a dump is, and we all know what comes out of it, right? So if you really want to get control of all the crap in your head, rather than just dump it out on the page every so often, you really need to keep on top of it in terms of making a log of things. So for instance, today's log, I started off with a journal entry at 2 p.m. because I slept in. I was still dealing with a hangover from yesterday's flare. So I woke up feeling groggy, tired, slept in till lunch. Then I wrote down what meds I took, what I was currently doing, currently drinking a coffee and listening to Billy Jensen's book while the meds kick in. So, you know, I know that I took it really easy this morning, and that's why there's not a big list of ideas or things I've done or whatever. Then I've got my 2 events, some notes for those 2 events, and anything else that I want to write about. You know, something could come up as an idea from this chat. So I could put that on here as an idea for a video, which I will then put into my video ideas list when I review. You've got to think... actually, I would suggest, Rianne, watch Miss Vicky B's videos, because she's working on the bullet journal method as a method, a way of life, as opposed to just thinking of it as a journal or a calendar. She's actually thinking of it as a way of thinking. So you might gain something from watching her videos, because she really is implementing it as something that she does on a habitual basis, as opposed to a planner or a journal or a thing that she does. She's thinking of it as a way of being and a way of thinking. So yeah, go and check out Miss Vicky B's videos. That might help you unbox those little things that you seem to have in your head, that this is a calendar, this is a task, this is a brain dump. We all have that, and we've all had that for a long time. And it's not, I'm not saying that you're anything, I'm not picking on you as having that. We've all got it in our heads that this is what this is and this is what that is. And I found when I started with the Bullet Journal Method book, I immediately pigeonholed it as a planner. And it wasn't until my 4th reading of it that I suddenly had this aha moment of, it's not a planner, it's a journal. A journal is a logbook, and you could put anything in as you want in a logbook. Like Ryder says, talking about scrapbooks, because he used to be a scrapbooker. Can you imagine? I don't see it myself, but apparently he was. And he says, is a bullet journal a scrapbook? No. Can you scrapbook in a bullet journal? Absolutely. And that completely frees you up for what you're allowed to put in your book, which is absolutely freaking anything. I've even managed to sketch in mine, because I had my book with me. I felt like sketching, so I sketched. I don't do any spreads because it's too time consuming. Yeah, I don't do any spreads. The most I've done, the only setup in advance that I do for any of my pages, and I do this when I was doing this over the weekend when I was watching Catfish, because I'm addicted. Oh my God, there are some scary freaking people in the world. If you ever think that, oh my God, I'm so weird, I'm completely weird, I don't think like anybody else, I'm not normal, what the hell is going on? Just go and watch Catfish. I tell you, 2 episodes of Catfish, you'll feel like the most normal person in the world. Your life is suddenly very boring. Wow. That 2 hours went quick. quarter to 6. Oh, we've got another hour yet. Hang on. I set the time for the wrong time. So 18:45. There we go. We've got another hour. Woof. Yeah. It's like Hoarders. If you need to clean your house but you don't have the motivation, go and watch an episode of Hoarders. You'll be cleaning the kitchen to within an inch of its life in half an hour. And Catfish is the same. If you ever feel like something about you is not normal, just go and watch Catfish. But yeah, while I've been watching Catfish, I've been doing simple stuff that doesn't take much brain power, like numbering my pages, because the Moleskine doesn't come with pages numbered, unfortunately. I'm currently up to page 100. When I feel like I'm getting to the point where I need some more pages, I'll do another 50, and I'll take my time about it so I don't get the numbers wrong and stuff like that. And I'm doing a line across the top because the one thing that annoys me about this book is that it doesn't have the top and bottom margins that I'm used to in a Moleskine. So I can do without the bottom margin, I'm okay with that, but I need the top margin. So I've just been going through and ruling across at the top, because that's where I put my headers and important information. So for instance, this is, I've just pulled that off, don't know how I've managed that. This is my daily log. I just wrote daily log at the top. My previous daily log, so my threading will go in here. So my previous daily log was on page 42. This is page 47. So I go back to page 42 and I thread it forwards. I've already got the arrow there, so it goes to 47. I will automatically write my next arrow on here so that I automatically thread the next item. If I've got anything on here that's particularly noteworthy, like if I do a big chunk of idea writing, say I have an idea for my podcast and I do a big chunk in here, then I will put a yellow sticker for ideas, which is I've got it on my studio, which is here, one of those, so that when I'm flicking through, I'll know there's an idea on there. And then when I do my review, I'll go, oh, what's the idea for? Oh, it's podcast stuff, and I'll put it in my index. But I'm not doing any future setup. There's nothing in here, nothing except those lines, and I haven't even done the lines and pages all the way through, because you never know. I might get to the end of July and decide, you know what, I don't want to continue with this book. I want to do something different. I want to change it. I've decided that it's never going to happen. I'm in love with this book. Moleskine Expanded is the book I've been looking for my entire freaking life. All I need now is for them to do the to-go ones, which are lined on one side and plain on the other, and I'll be in my element. That will be me. I will be like where have you been all my life? But the 2 goes, I need them in the 400 pages. I'm loving the 400 page thing. There's no maths in the calendar, it's just the page number against the date. Yeah, that's still too much numbering. It's something I don't get it. I don't know why I don't get it, I just don't get it. Possibly because I've never really sat down and looked at it properly or tried it properly. But the few things I've looked at with the Calendex, it just doesn't make any sense to me. So I think if you're using the bullet journal method, this book, then you need to separate out the bullet journal method from this book from arty bullet journals you see online that have elaborate spreads and everything else. As Ryder says, that is people who've taken the bullet journal method and developed it and evolved it into a creative practice that keeps them coming back to it. Now, if that's something you feel you're going to need, by all means do it. But if decoration and stuff gets in the way or is too time consuming, then just start with the bullet journal method. I do need visual indicators, and I do use a lot of stickers, and I do stick things in my bullet journal, and I do sketches in my bullet journal, but they're not for decoration, they're for function. I don't just create elaborate spreads for the sake of creating elaborate spreads. If I'm going to spend that amount of time on something artistic, I'll do it in my art journal, or I'll do it in my sketchbook, which is where my art belongs. This is not art in any way, shape or form, and it doesn't need to be. For me. Because the thing that keeps me coming back to this is the fact that my brain doesn't feel like it's got a box of squirrels jumping around inside it. My squirrels are very quietly eating their nuts at the moment. Each one has a task or something to think about. You know, I've got one squirrel in the back of my brain mulling over podcast stuff, and I've got one squirrel in my brain mulling over whether I should move that table over there or not, and I've got another squirrel in my brain working out a list of things that I may or may not put on eBay because I don't really need them. You know, all my squirrels have jobs to do because of this, which means they're not leaping about in my brain going, hey, how about this, how about this, how about this, how about this, how about this? You didn't even notice the study guide was missing. Oh, well, that shows how far behind you are. You don't look for the study guides until today anyway. Yeah, a lot of people don't. It's just, I like to put them up on a set day so that I know I've done them. And the other thing is, if I set them for Tuesdays, it means if I don't get them up on a Tuesday, I've still got Wednesday to get them done. So, I've got a buffer. Oh, I've done it again. Hang on. I've scrolled too far. My Nora is the same. I have to have an account of each day, which is why I don't do a page a day. I just skip a few lines and write out a memory of what happened. Yeah, exactly. You don't have to bullet journal every day, but I have to account for every day. Even if it's just, you know, Monday the 2nd, day off. That's fine. I don't need to know what I did on my day off. As long as Nora knows it was a day off and she doesn't need to know what I did, that's fine. My Nora is called Anastasia. She's busy writing in page numbers at the moment. Oh, that's a great way of giving her something to do, isn't it? Yeah, Nora likes that. My Nora likes her. It's a way of keeping my Nora busy because she's like, seriously, you're going to binge watch an entire season of Catfish? Really? Don't you have enough things on your to-do? Zip it, Nora. Go number some pages. Ooh, she says. Okay, then. It's really about logging things and reflection and how you see things along with thinking about your why. Yes, absolutely. You put the collection on the spread, and if you run out of space on the spread, then you flip the page and start another spread continuing the same collection. Oh, excellently put, Inlay. Excellently put. Analogy, electronics in boxes. The electronics are gathered in one place, a collection, in the box, the spread. Sometimes you need another box or spread because there's a lot of cables. See, she gets my brain. This is how my brain works. I once explained how to use a filing system and folders on a computer in terms of how you organise a bookshelf. We are the analogy queens in life. That makes sense why I don't do a 2-page spread. I need my collection while it's relevant, and once I've written the collection, I don't go back to it. Yeah, you do a collection of things for the day almost. You're much more immediate, and I understand why you are, because your brain moves at super fast speed. It really doesn't have time for anything that it's going to need to go back to. It's more about organising the now. Your long-term planning is actually really good. It's your now that needs organising because it's too fast. You just need to grab things as they go past. I like that definition of a spread. It's better than what I had defined it as, which was the pretty planning idea. Yes. No, you have to ditch the idea of pretty planning. To follow the bullet journal method, forget pretty planning completely. Ryder actually says that he didn't like the pretty planning. He said it in several interviews. He was totally against pretty planning when it first started, and these people doing elaborate things, and he felt like people didn't really understand the purpose. And it wasn't until he looked back at what they were doing that he realised that they had understood the purpose. They'd just found another outlet for their creativity and turned it into something, you know, making the pretty pages was their meditation. Making the pretty pages, coming in and doing their daily spreads, kept them coming back and doing their reflections and making sure that they kept up with it, and at the same time gave them 15 minutes of creativity. So now he gets it. But if you don't need that creativity, or you have other things you'd like to channel it into, like I do, then you don't need to even consider the pretty planning thing. The most you might consider pretty planning is like I said, doing the monthly calendar, drawing out your monthly calendar, or setting up your page with headers or whatever, or using planner stickers or signifiers to highlight things, you know, that kind of pretty planning, the basics, as opposed to elaborate artistic spreads. But if you feel that that elaborate artistic spread is going to keep you coming back to using your planner, and it gives you that time, you know, that's mum's time with her cup of tea in the morning before the kids get up and all hell breaks loose, then by all means, be as artistic as you like. Let that be your outlet, because that will keep you coming back and keep you staying up to date with it, because you will value that time. And during that time, you're doing something valuable. Maddie, whatever you're doing, stop it. Get out of the bin. Good girl. There's nothing in the bin for you. Leave it alone. It may be a good idea, but is it a good idea for you? Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what you always have to consider. And the other side of that is what we're looking at today. It might sound like it's not a good idea, like it won't be of any use. But in my opinion, you should try it anyway. For me, it's about trust but verify. I'm not immediately going to jump into a book that says, you know, there's an awful lot of them. This is the planner system that will get you organised, and productivity. This is the answer to all your questions. Ryder's approach is completely different to that. He starts off by saying, look, it's not about productivity. It's about taking time. It's about thinking about what you're doing and saying, do I even want to be doing this? Am I being busy but not actually doing anything? Am I busy doing nothing? Or busy doing nothing that's important? And really getting to the grips with why you're not doing the things. I saw somebody, was it you, Laura? Somebody did a video the other day about how they discovered that through their bullet journal, that they were creating lists of things to do in order to avoid the one thing that they should be doing. And then by looking at that one thing and breaking it down like he suggests, why am I doing it? What do I need to do? What do I need to accomplish that? What do I need to do to make sure that that happens? What do I need to get? Okay, step 1, go and buy this. Or go and pull out this book. Go and set up this page. That's your step 1. What can I do immediately that will start me on that journey? And it's all about that for me. It's not about just taking a system and going, oh, this is the answer to my prayers. Here we go. Lots of planning systems claim to be that, and they are absolutely not. But what Ryder says is that if you give it a chance, it may solve some of your problems, and it will address. The guarantee he gives is that it will make you think about why you're doing things. That's the only guarantee he gives. It will make you think about why you're doing things. And if you're thinking about why, then you're doing the great elusive, you're being present. And that's what's important to me. Be more dog. Be in the moment. Be in the now. Be here. You know, all that stuff. Think about what you're doing and why. If your now is good, then your past will be good. And your future has to have a knock-on effect of being good. Because your now is being thoughtful and mindful and getting rid of anything that is not important to you. I get it now. I agree that every thought and note is not going to warrant a new collection for me either. No. I never set up a new collection immediately, ever. The one exception I made was for my video lists. Because I knew that being a YouTuber and a Patreon person and doing online video classes, there was no way in hell I was not going to have a massive list of video ideas. So I set up a list of video ideas, but I didn't do that until I had a few ideas. Then I made a video list. I didn't immediately put it in my book right at the beginning and like, oh, here's 2 pages, I'm going to keep that for this. I waited until I started having video ideas, and then I set up a collection for them. And even then, I wrote my ideas on my dailies, and when I did my reflection at the end of the day, I went, oh, hang on a minute, I've got 5 or 6 of these. Okay, if I write these down on a collection, create a collection, write them down, and then I can cross them off my daily, job done. Because they're now somewhere that I can look at them and decide what I want to do with them. It looks like your calendar, but it's all colour-coded and separated into custom calendars. Oh, so is mine. I have a When Frogs Sing 2019 calendar, an MSC Chronicles calendar, a Me calendar, a KK calendar, a all sorts of other stuff calendar, a reminders calendar. It's all separate, but it all comes together on one page. That way I can get rid of an entire calendar when it's no longer relevant and start a new one or add a new one or whatever. Hit the nail on the head for me. I'm struggling to have it perfect right from the get-go. I just realised it's not supposed to be perfect. Ta-da moment. Yeah, it's not supposed to be. And also, redefine what you think of as perfect, Kelly. Does perfect mean, oh, it looks pretty, or everything is spelt right, or there's no crossings out, or whatever? Or does perfect mean when you come to it, you know exactly what's going on, you understand it, you can find things? To me, that's perfect. Having crossings out doesn't make any difference. Having it not be pretty and, you know, Instagram worthy, as people like to call it, makes no difference to me. What is perfect for me is that I come to it and I go, where the hell was that note I made about podcasts? Oh, hang on a minute, I put it in my index. Page 25, 26. Page 25, 26. Oh, misread it. 35. Here we go. 35. Signifier, aha moment. Here we go. There's the idea. That, to me, is perfect. It takes me less than a couple of seconds. Because if anything takes me more than a couple of seconds, I've been distracted. One of my squirrels has gone, oh, but while I'm thinking about it, did I do such and such, by the way? Oh, and oh, let me just have a bit of coffee. Oh, look at that cute colour there. You know, by the time I've done that, I've forgotten what I was doing. If it takes too long to find it, it's, you know? But if I can go to my book and it's there and I can find it and I can understand what it means, it makes no difference to me whether it's pretty or not. It makes no difference whether it's perfect, because perfect for me means functional. If perfect for you means it's all beautifully written and looks lovely and etc., then you need to concentrate or ask yourself why it's important for you to have it looking perfect and pretty. Maybe that's something you can channel into, I keep a journal, I keep a written journal, maybe I can use my nice writing in that and concentrate on that having nice writing. Because if you're writing longhand and you're using nice writing, it makes you stop and think about what you're doing. So maybe that's, you know, and that's counterproductive for a rapid log. The point of a rapid log is that it's quick, it's sharp, it's easy, it's one word, boom, done. When you're longhand journaling, writing with a nice pen on nice paper, longhand, with beautiful writing and taking your time is an advantage, because you're thinking about what you're writing. You're not just going, oh, today we did this and then I took the kids for this and da. It's tapping into that subconscious thoughts of, oh, and I thought today about such and such that I remembered from whenever and it reminded me of this. You know, that to me is journaling. So channel your perfection or your perfectionism. I call my perfectionism my inner Nora. Inner Nora has to know exactly what's going on at all times, and you better have a damn good reason. I call her the librarian, because that's what she's like. She's like the librarian from my school. If your book is late, you better have a damn good reason. I have to account to her for everything. So channel your perfectionism into something that's relevant. And if that is doing the odd pretty page because you sketch something, or, you know, doing your monthly calendar beautiful but then having everything else whatever, then do that. Channel it into something worthwhile, because channeling too much perfectionism into something that's not meant to be perfect, or can't be perfect because it's just a jumble of thoughts in your head, which are never going to be perfect. No matter which way you scramble it, nobody's thoughts come out of their head perfectly the first time. So channel that perfection into something else that is useful and relevant and gives you the why. Why are you making your bullet journal perfect? No reason whatsoever. It doesn't have to be. Why are you making your longhand journaling look perfect? Because you want it to be legible later. You want it to have meaning. You want it to slow you down while you're working on it. You know? Channel your perfection to house cleaning or something, or whatever it is that floats your boat, rather than your bullet journal. One thing I think I've come to realise is that I like my collections in Google Keep. I've just been directing notes from my dailies to Keep and gave up on collections in my bullet journal. I keep some of my collections in Google Keep too. If I have a shopping list or errands that I need to do while I'm out or something like that, I keep it in Google Keep. I also have my list of passwords in Google Keep, because I've got a password on it. I also have I actually have a much bigger version of this. This is a very honed down version of stuff that's just acts as a visual, but I moved all this stuff, rather than printing it all out in my book. I created a Pinterest board and just shoved it all in there. And I put the link in Google Keep. So instead of having to go to Pinterest and find it, I just go to Google Keep and click on the link, and there it is. I could just as easily have put these pictures in Google Keep, but I don't want them on my phone. I don't want them taking up space on my phone. Which moon widget do you use? Moon widget? Oh, you weren't asking me, you were asking Cody. I have two, the Moon, and the other is just called Moon on iPhone. Yeah, I don't use a moon widget personally because it's on your weather app. I can just click on here and get all the information I want for the day. So one of them has an option to put the wallpaper on the lock screen. Oh, that sounds good. That sounds good. Now that I like. Okay, so here's an example of me using my bullet journal in real time. A note. Moon and the moon, iPhone, lock screen widget. I will know what that means later because I will review it tonight. So I won't have forgotten what it means by tonight. In 2 days' time, I might look at it and go, what? But tonight, I will know what it means, and then I can go and look it up. Or expand the note so that I look it up on at another time and still know what I'm talking about. I'm actually going to do a video on astrology and the bullet journal. This week I'm focusing on keeping things going and adapting things minorly in order to make them functional for you. Next week I'm going to focus more on kind of philosophy. I've had a lot of people ask me about astrology. Now I know that astrology is something that a lot of people are not into, but if you think of it in terms of, instead of using planets and transits and astrological events as something that will inform what you do when, I don't mean like, ooh, the moon's doing this, so I'm going to do such and such. More kind of, well, Mercury's retrograde. Retrogrades are all about reflection and looking back and revising and doing. So I want to do a project that's to do with reflecting and reviewing and revising. Ta-da, the bullet journal method. It's about not going against the grain, if you like. So the astrology videos will also be relevant if you are one of those people who doesn't believe in going against your own nature. If you are a dyed-in-the-wool night owl and you are never going to get up at 5 a.m, then adapting things so that they work for you is important. It's okay to go against the grain if it works for you. And accepting that, I'm sorry, I'm a night owl, I'm never going to get up at 5 a.m. And if I do, I'm still not going to be functional until about 10 a.m. In which case I've wasted 5 hours that I could have just slept in. That's important. So you look at it as playing to your strengths. If one of your strengths is that you are better able to focus at 10 o'clock at night until 2 a.m. and you don't have to be up at the crack of dawn, then where is the harm in setting aside 10 till 2 or 10 till 1 as your project time to work on something, your passion project, or, do your reading, or do your mum's alone time when the kids have gone to bed, that kind of thing, instead of just what most people do, which is sit down and watch TV in the evenings because they're knackered because they got up at 5 a.m. and all they want to do is go to bed, but they feel bad going to bed at 8 o'clock, So you can really look at it as playing to your strengths. If you are a numbers person, you can adapt things to work for you in the numbers section. If you are a dyslexic, you can adapt things so they work for you visually. If you don't like a lot of visual stuff but you prefer words, then why not change your words, your signifiers, your bullet points to a word or a letter that means something to you? If it works, it works. So while everybody may not be a Stoic, Stoicism is at the heart of bullet journaling. Ryder Carroll's a Stoic. I adhere to Stoicism. I listen to a lot of podcasts about Stoicism. It makes sense to me. And a lot of people adhere to Stoicism without realising it. That the core issue, the core thing being, you cannot control anything except how you react to something. You can't even control how you feel about something. All you can do is control about how you react, how you express what you feel, how you say, okay, well, that's made me really angry and I want to rage, but what I'm actually going to do is, here's my reaction, It's stopping and thinking about how you can essentially control the world around you by controlling yourself and how you react to the world around you. A lot of people get very upset about stuff that's completely irrelevant. Being able to section that out and say, this is just drama and I do not need to get involved in it. A lot of my followers and subscribers and students, and I've had loads of people say to me, it's so weird that there always seems to be drama around other people, but I've never seen drama around you. That doesn't mean that I don't get drama. I do get drama. I've had drama come at me big time, but I don't get involved in it. I don't react to it. I don't allow other people's dramas, even if they involve me in some way, to affect how I react or how I act in the world. Pretty much if people come out at me shouting drama, they don't exist in my world anymore. I'm like, right, that's you out, bye. There's the door, see ya. Because I don't have time for that. I don't have time for other people's dramas. I make enough drama of my own in my own head that I need to control and not express without having other people throwing their drama at me. So that's the point of Stoicism, is being in control of how you react to things. Asking why. Why am I doing this? Am I just doing this because it's a knee-jerk reaction because somebody told me I need to do it? Or am I actually thinking about it and going, yeah, but I don't want to be doing this? I feel the same way about the Moleskine Expanded notebook. I never believed I would. Oh, I love the Moleskine Expanded is the book I've been looking for my entire life. I've scrolled up too high again. Oh, this is so annoying. Sorry, I've lost my place. 1 second. Go on, I'm really behind. I need to get scrolling. Okay. More scrolling, less chatting. Maddie, you busted. Yeah. Her big head. Hey, Carrie. Her big head in my... I just finished binge watching Designated Survivor on Netflix. Oh. No, I don't know. That's the government one, isn't it? Where you're the last resort kind of. But no, that's... I'm more into true crime. That's why I like Catfish, because it's true crime without the murder. It's a bit less serious. It's like the comedy version of serial killers. You get all the psycho without the blood. Your Nora and my Caroline would get on swimmingly. I think they're the same person, Carrie. We share a brain, remember? I hate that pretty planning is almost the only thing you see. One of the things that has helped me, and somebody else gave me this, I didn't realise it until I went looking to check it up, and actually she was right. She told me that if you use the BuJo tag, hashtag BUJO, you tend to get the arty stuff, and if you use the BuJo bullet journal or bullet journal method tag, you tend to get this sort of stuff, which is more about the ideas and content. The BuJo tag is very much the pretty planning side of it. I have nothing wrong. I see nothing wrong with pretty planning if it floats your boat. For me, if I wasn't an art journaler and an artist and a painter, I would probably do pretty planning because I would need a creative outlet of some sort. But I'm not, so I don't. My planning is functional above all else. My book is functional above all else. Just because I draw in it doesn't mean that it's pretty. Some people need pretty planning to make sure that they keep coming back, or it's a creative outlet for them. Some of them are used to be scrapbookers who've given it up because they just don't have time for it all. Some of them are wannabe art journalers, but they don't have the necessarily the will or the time or the dedication or the supplies that you need to do art journaling. So I can understand why people do it. But yeah, it does concern me that it gives you the wrong idea of what the bullet journal is. So I'm quite happy that people have started seeing that difference between the BuJo, which is the arty side, and the bullet journal, which is the practical side. That's why I've started my BuJo Instagram. I'm just terrible at updating it. Yeah, I'm pretty awful at updating mine too. I haven't really posted any pages. And by the time I realised I could post pages, I'm on like page 50. I'm like, I don't want to post 50 pages. I might just post a flip through, to be honest. There's quite a few people have started their name followed by BuJo. So there's Cody's BuJo, Rose BuJo, KK's BuJo. There's a lot of people who've started doing that. So if you look up S BuJo, all one word, you'll get a lot of people who've started doing that, and it'll just be their name at the beginning. But we are all bullet journalers. We're not BuJo, arty BuJos. I posted my messy currents project spread this morning. I have to get them done or throw them out. Yes! Do it or bin it. This is why I'm doing my studio next month, because I've been trying to do my studio for months. This month I finally said I'm not going to do my studio. I'm not going to think about my studio. If I have an idea, I might try it, but other than that, I'm not going to worry about the fact that there are piles of crap everywhere that I really need to do something about. I will concentrate on it as a passion project next month. And the reason I'm doing that is so that I can try to implement the bullet journal method in my studio planning, so that I can come up with a way of following it through so that this doesn't happen again. It may happen again, but the least I can do is try to make it not happen again, right? I have a lot of calendars, but most of them are from my family members, or my calendar separated into different calendars that are shared with specific people because they don't need to know everything. Yeah. Exactly. My parents can see my main calendar, which everything is shared to, but in my main calendar it just says I'm busy. They only know if I'm busy or if I'm not busy, and the only exceptions is if in my calendar where it says if I'm going away somewhere, if I'm going to be travelling, because my mum likes to know if I'm travelling so she can keep an eye on the traffic and see if I've got in a car accident on the M6 or something, you know, mothers. Now that I've let go of the pretty, I'm doing much better with the actual method. Yes, it very much is a case of getting the method down, and then when you've got the method so that it's boom, 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 if you then feel like, oh, you know what, I could make these pretty at the top here, or I could add a bit of washi tape here or whatever, then you can go ahead and do that. Or you can do like I'm doing and have a specific page and turn to a new page and do a sketch. Or, you know, turn to a page that's got some space on it and stick something in, like I stuck my dog in here. You know, you can always add it back in later if you feel it's going to be useful, or it's going to make your bullet journal more aesthetically pleasing to you. But you don't need to have it there to start with. It just gets in the way, in my opinion. The pretty planning showed me that I needed some clear structure, but I don't want to spend time setting it up. That's why I'm using the Hobonichi Weeks. Yes. The Hobonichi Weeks is a really good way of splitting out stuff into different areas and have a clear structure without doing the work yourself and without feeling a need to make it pretty. For me, the pretty gets in the way because it just makes it harder to read stuff. It's hard enough to read stuff as it is. I channel my perfectionism into paintings and drawings. My journals don't need to be perfect because if anyone ever sees them, I'll be dead or I've posted them to inspire imperfection. Oh, Laura. You, me, wavelength. Absolutely. If I'm going to channel perfectionism into something, it's going to be something that's worthwhile. And my journals are only worthwhile for me. My bullet journal is only worthwhile for me. My paintings, my art journals, they are for inspiration and for, you know, putting out into the world. That's my creations. They're my babies. So my perfectionism should be in there. Perfectionism is one of the biggest lies we tell ourselves. Nothing is ever perfect. We humans tend to equate perfect with quality. I'm still working on not equating those two disparate things. Absolutely, Carrie. Was it Salvador Dali? Don't worry about perfection, you're never going to attain it. Using a bullet journal as kind of a scaffolding for my actual creative work rather than making the BuJo my creative work in itself is freeing. Absolutely, Alec. That is totally how I'm thinking of it. If I have an idea for a painting, I can put it in here. I can scribble little thumbnails. I can put little colour swatches even if I want to. But that's not my creative work. My creative work will be somewhere else. Absolutely. One of the things I love about the bullet journal method is I can use it as much or as little space as I need for each day or whatever. Yes. Asking chat, do you put your shopping or grocery lists in the bullet journal or do you go do it separately? I think you mean. I put my shopping lists on my phone because I'm not going to have my bullet journal with me. So I use Google Keep on my phone. That's one of the collections that goes on my phone because I'll have my phone with me, but I won't necessarily have my bullet journal with me. The other alternative, if you really do like to write things down, is to just put a post-it note on your page and write your shopping list on that. And then when you go out, you can take that with you. And then you can bin it because it's not a permanent collection. You don't really need to use it, I don't think. Well, I don't see it like that. If you've got one of those big store cupboard pantry things that you keep an up-to-date list of, then maybe you will want to keep your bullet journal. But I don't carry my bullet journal around with me in the shop. I couldn't juggle all of that. Lots of people saying they put it on their phones or on a post-it. Yeah, this is what post-its are for. Post-its were meant for temporary notes. Been using Google Keep lately. Before I used field notes in notebooks. Yeah. Google Keep is great because you can change the colours. I tried to do a brain dump and could not seem to get it at all. My brain kept taking left turns and I could not focus. Have you got any tips? No, that's what a brain dump is. If your brain kept taking left turns, you were doing it already. You're doing it right. Don't think of it as a brain dump. In the bullet journal method, it's a mental inventory. If you call it a brain dump, it becomes crap because that's what a dump is, right? It's crap. So it just becomes a way of getting all the stuff out of your head, all the crap out of your head so that you can move forward. And then you tend to do it when you're overwhelmed and it's not a useful tool. If you think of it as taking a mental inventory and you do it on a regular basis, so I take a mental inventory. First thing I do in the morning, my reflection, I write in today's date, and everything that's going through my head for the day, whether it's I need to order dog food on Friday, or I need to do this, or don't forget to do this, or I've got a class at 2, whatever it is, it goes in here. That is my mental inventory for the day. That's my stock take for the day. It's not a brain dump. It's not just getting crap out of my brain. Because if it's crap, I'm never going to go back to it. What's the point? It's just crap. If it's stuff that I'm getting out of my brain and at the same time I'm going, oh, hang on a minute, that gives me an idea, I can write that on. It doesn't have to be a fully formed idea. I can write an arrow from this going, oh, gives me an idea for such and such to do this, that and the other. Later that day, when I've done the things I needed to do on here and I've fleshed out and I've worked through and I've done this, that and the other and I've gone to my appointments and I come to my evening reflection, I'll look back through that morning's mental inventory and go, oh yeah, that idea there. Let's write about that here now. And you flesh it out. Even if it's only fleshed out in as much as it's a couple of sentences that you can come back to later. But yeah, as Alec says, just keep going with it. It'll all come out in the wash. Just keep writing it down. The more often you do it, the less there will be. If you think of your brain dump as doing laundry, okay? A lot of people tend to do laundry when they run out of clothes. The student method of laundry. You do laundry when you don't have any clean underwear, right? By which time it's already too late. You've got too much to do. It's a huge task. Oh my God, it's never going to end, right? But if you start with a clean slate, you get all that done. So you do your brain dump, you do your mental inventory. It's all out on the page. And then you slowly go through it and then say, okay, today, during my reflection, the laundry I'm going to do is all my towels. Or, I've got no underwear. Fine, I'm going to do all my socks and underwear. Nothing else, just the socks and underwear. Tomorrow I'll have clean underwear. Oh, I could do with a t-shirt as well. I'll chuck in a white t-shirt with it as well. That'll be fine. One t-shirt ready for tomorrow if I need it. Or if I need to go out somewhere, I've got a clean t-shirt. Then you go through the next day and say, okay, what's the next most important thing on the list? Maybe you've just changed the bed. If you've just put clean sheets on the bed, there's absolutely no reason for you to have to do the stuff that you just took off the bed. You can put that in a separate pile with your towels and say, okay, I'll do that before I need to change the sheets again and before I run out of towels, but I don't need to do it today because that's not important. However, I do need my whites doing because I need some white shirts for work. So today you do your whites. And you just concentrate on that. And you get to the point where every day you're going, do I need to do laundry? Yes or no? Not today, but tomorrow I could do with doing the towels. Okay, so you put that on your list. And it stops being a mental brain dump of just crap. And it starts being an organised list of things that you've thought about in advance that you go, I haven't done any laundry for a couple of days. I probably should see if I need anything. Oh, it's going to be a nice day. It's the weekend. I don't need to do any laundry, but it would be lovely to put the towels out on the line. So I'm going to do all the towels and put them out to air, and think of it in that sense. So you have to think of your first mental inventory as being a big pile of crap that you need to sort through because you've never done it before. Another analogy could be your junk drawer. You look at your junk drawer, you go, oh my God, I can't even think about sorting that out right now. And you put it away again. You shove something in and hope it doesn't fall out the next time you open the drawer, right? The day you decide to organise your junk drawer, you pull it out, you tip everything out on the floor, and usually you cry and go, what am I going to do with all this? And most of it ends up put back in, but in a slightly different order. But if you took out the stuff from your junk drawer every day and said, okay, today I'm going to tip it out and I'm just going to concentrate on electronic bits, batteries, spare cables, things like that. Take those out, look at them. Do I need them? Are they useful? Should they be in the junk drawer? Do they still work? Test the batteries, see if they work. If they don't, put them in the recycling. That kind of thing. Put everything else back and put all the electronics that need to be in there in a nice little box so that tomorrow you take that box out and say, okay, that's all the electronics. I did that yesterday. Tip it up. What am I going to do today? Instead of trying to tackle it all in one go. Think of that as your brain dump, your mental inventory. So you keep doing it over and over and over again every day. Anything that needs to be added to the list. And if something keeps coming up in your brain, this is something that I've taken note of this week. If something keeps coming up in your daily inventory, I mustn't forget to do this, or, oh, this is an idea, and you find out that it's on yesterday's list and the day before and the day before and the day before, for God's sake, do something with it. Make it a task. Put it on your monthly task list. Put it in your index. Write it out. Write out some ideas. Put aside one of your reflection times this week to say, okay, I'm going to start a new spread and I'm going to flesh out this idea. Here we go. Here's my ideas for this. So that any time you come back to it, you won't keep writing that same thing on your mental inventory because you've done something with it. Once you've fleshed it out, you've got the option to say, well, why do I want to do this? Does it matter? Is it vital? Do I need to? Is it important? Why? And eventually you might find that actually you don't really need to do that. Cross it off. It's done. It's no longer going to come on your brain dump. So it's no longer in your head going, look at me, I'm a squirrel. Which is what happens to me. You're interested in the astrology videos. Yeah, I want to do astrology videos. I just want to do them in such a way that people who are not interested in astrology can still use them or make use of them. I don't want people to go, oh, astrology, I'm not into that, and therefore I'm not going to watch it. It's no use to me. It will be using astrology as in playing to your strengths, which is something you can do if you know about using smart techniques, or if you know about, like the GTD method uses a quarterly thing. Is it necessary? Is it urgent? Is it all that kind of stuff? I can't remember exactly what it is. It shows how well it worked for me. If you can say, okay, well, I don't believe in astrology, but I do use this method, so that I can equate to it and say, okay, how can I use this method to further the way I'm planning? Then it should work, I think. Using a pencil instead of a pen really helps. Oh, I found my perfect pen. It's one of these. It's a four colour Bic, but instead of a green pen, it has a pencil. It's my dream pen, and it will be here on Friday. For months, I've been saying, why don't they do one of these with a pencil in it? Nobody ever used green ink. I'm only using green ink because I can, because it's there. The minute I don't have green ink in my pen, I'll go straight to using blue for everything personal and my witchy stuff, because I really don't need to use green. The green pens are always really dry, and I don't like it, and I don't like writing with them, and I prefer to use them for drawing trees and stuff. So, yeah, I can't wait to have a pencil in one of these. And as far as I can tell, it's the same structure, so I'll be able to take my nice shiny thing from this pen and put it on my other pen, because I love this one. I love these shiny casings, but I've got several of these that are other colours as well, so they're just the boring blue ones, so I'll swap the boring blue ones and the boring green ones to have my snazzy metallics on instead. I put a list on a piece of paper or an index card and paperclip it until I'm ready to go to the store. Yeah. The analogue post-it note. Was there a theme to your left turns? You might need to journal or something else more than making a giant task list. Absolutely, Cody. Yeah, same thing. If something keeps coming up, or if there's a general theme, then that needs to be separated out into something else. Maybe separate those out into a collection so that you can look at them and say, okay, what is this telling me? I also see the difference between a brain dump and a mental inventory as being the all-important test. Does it matter to me or someone I love, and is it vital? Yes. The brain dump is kind of the initial writing down, and then the mental inventory for me is going through and going, okay, that doesn't need to be a task yet. I'll put it on my monthly page. That doesn't need to be done. That's rubbish. What am I talking about? Go away. Oh, that's a good idea. I need to explore that, giving it a signifier. You know, taking inventory is kind of the edited version of the brain dump. But I've stopped calling them brain dumps because I very much see a brain dump as just getting rid of the crap when I'm overwhelmed. And the whole point of the bullet journal is that you never get to the overwhelmed state. If you are getting to the overwhelmed state, you're not using your bullet journal to its full potential. Or something in your bullet journal isn't working for you in the way that it should. Sometimes it's helpful to spill your thoughts and then mind map to figure out what's important and relevant. Yeah, if you find your brain dumps, mental inventories taking a left turn, the mind map method is a really good way of doing it. I quite often do my general kind of monthly splurge of stuff, which tends to be more long-term things rather than immediate planning. Immediately planning and inventories tend to be a list. More long-term stuff tends to be a mind map because it's easier to, you know, do a category and circle things off, and then you can separate them out easier. My brain is a massive junk drawer. Yeah. Oh, my brain is a massive junk drawer that has lots of squirrels going through it going, oh, shiny! My brain is a junk drawer and sometimes it gets stuck. Yeah. I use green ink a lot to denote my gardening tasks that have to be done so I have a good harvest. Oh, well, that's good. No, if you have a good reason for using it, then that's awesome. I have 6 shiny ones and wanted some of the green and blue ones. Let me know if you want to swap. Bic pen cases. Oh, yeah. I've probably got quite a few, actually. Because what I tend to do is have these and the black runs out first. And then I'm never, ever going to use up the blue and green. The black runs out first. The red is usually on its way out. I tend to keep the red to use separately. I pull it out and use it separately and just have lots of them lying around. And then the green and blue never get used up. So if you can use green and blues, then I can... Because I've got a green pen anyway. I have one of these separate. So I don't actually need any of those green refills. I'd be perfectly happy to pull them out and send them over to you if you want them. We've reached the end. Is Catfish a show on Netflix? I can't find it. I'm watching it on Amazon Prime. I missed that in capital letters. How did I miss that? Did I scroll down too fast? No, I just missed it. See, it's so easy for me to miss stuff. Yeah, Catfish is on Amazon Prime at the moment. But you're in South Africa, so I don't know what you'd have access to either. But you can find episodes of Catfish on YouTube too, and on iTunes. Can you not refill them? No. I mean, you can pull these out and swap them into different pens, and I quite often will put 2 blacks in a pen. Especially if my black is running out, I will, MacGyver them around. You just pull these out and push them back in again. I won't do it with this one. But I'm very excited to get the one with the pencil. But this pretty shiny thing fits on this one, which is a new pen. So I'll still be able to keep my pretty shiny thing. These come on all of them. I'll swap those back over or I won't know which pen's which. This is a new pen. Oh, the shiny bits. So you're not having my shiny bits. Amber sent me the shiny bits. 2 pink, 2 purple and 2 silver. Yeah, I wish they'd do the refills for them. I really do wish they'd do refills, but they're not easy to refill. I mean, you can pull the thing out and push it back in again, but I kind of wish that these refills were the same ends as the regular nibs. Because if they were the regular nibs like this, you could take one of these, or even if this came off, you could take one of these and refill your pen with it. I think that would be really useful, but I sent that to them as a suggestion and they said, we really enjoy that suggestion, but the whole point of Bics is that they're disposable. I'm like, well, okay, yeah, you got a point there. The good thing is that they've now made all of this recyclable. All of this is recyclable now. So you can just put it in the plastic recycling. Oh, you don't want them, you're trying to give you some of mine. Oh, right, okay. She wants to swap her shiny bits for your ordinary blue and greens. Oh, I'm confused. Email me. I'm confused. Email me. Okay, so we got 15 minutes. Anybody want to... Bloody moths. I hate moths. Because I have the studio lights on so much, the moths are always here. I hate them. I don't hate moths, I just don't want them in the house because they eat stuff. Kate, hey there! Haven't seen you for ages. The pencil, that's what I'm talking about. That's my dream pen that's coming on Friday. It's literally just come out. I think they've been out for a while in the States, but they've only just come out here. I found it on Amazon and I'm like, my dream pen, it's got a pencil, oh my god. You just found it and you're trying to decide how likely you are to use it. I always have this and a pencil with me. So for me, it's cutting down on the amount of things I have to carry. It means I can just put it on my bullet journal. I've only bought one. I haven't bought loads of them because I've got quite a few of these and I use these for sketching. And if I'm sketching, I don't really... I would take a proper pencil and eraser with me anyway. But But for use in my bullet journal, I do pencil in my bullet journal sometimes. Like when I'm taking scratchy notes, I'll take them in pencil and then I'll rewrite them later when I review them. Because that just works for me. Instead of having 2 pages of written notes, I've just rewritten them. What do you use for use a pencil for? Oh, talking to Serpent, right. Yeah, I'm allergic to peppermint, unfortunately. I'm allergic to all mints. I do use cinnamon oil. Cinnamon oil helps to keep them out, but it makes everything stink. They make a version with fine nibs. Oh, yeah, but they haven't got the fine nibs with the pencil yet. But the minute they do, that's what I'm swapping to, because I like the fine nibs. Interestingly enough, Amber sent me these shiny ones, and these are the thin nibs, the regular nibs. The 1.6 ones, which is the ones like this, with a smoky barrel, those are 1.6 mil. These are 1 mil writes 0.7, and the yellow ones are 0.7 writes 0.4. Interestingly, the American versions of these that Amber sent me are the thin versions, the 1 mil writes 0.7, whereas ours are way thicker. They are. This is why I like them for sketching. The nibs, I mean, you can see the nib is much thicker at the end. It's the 1.6 writes 1 mil. I really like these, but I'm not buying a fine nib one for writing until they come out with a fine nib that's also got a pencil. When that happens, that's the pen that I will marry. Okay, right, we've got 15 minutes left. One more question. Here we go. Susan Corrigan. My new realisation, the monthly log, which is too small to plan in, so I never do, is a great index that tells me where notes from a phone call went or where my notes from the doctor went. Ah, so you're using your monthly log as a calendar, as an index for where things are. Yeah, it's not really for planning. Saying it's too small to plan in, it's not really for planning. The monthly log, the monthly task list is just when you start the month. You know, you don't want to start your month on the 1st of July. You open 1st of July and you start writing a whole list of stuff that you've got to do this month, right? That goes in here. When you set up your month, what do I need to do this month? What am I thinking about? What do I need to remember? And so on. Then when you start July the 1st, you've got nothing except your mental inventory for the 1st. And whatever you go through here and go, okay, what's due today? What do I need to start working on today? What do I need to address in the next few days? What's important? What do I need to make sure that I don't forget? And so on. What needs a collection starting? So this isn't for planning. This is your mental inventory for the month. He calls it a monthly task list. I call it a monthly inventory because it's not just tasks, it's notes, it's important things to remember. Maddie's vax are due after the 14th. I still haven't forgotten that come Monday I need to book that. But it's there as a constant reminder. It doesn't need to be on today's list. So this is not for planning. Nor is this. This is for logging stuff. Things that have happened. So like yesterday I wrote on that I had a flyer day and that I started reading Billy Jensen's book. Because all I could do was lie in bed and either sleep or listen to stuff. So I started reading another book. Various other things that Meds reissued. When Panda arrived at Rish's, that kind of stuff. Things that have happened, and I don't write in this until it has already done. If I have stuff that's due this month, it goes on here, but it goes in as an event so that when I get to that day, I'm thinking of this as a master list, not as a planning page. But if you're using it as an index, that works too, Especially if you make a lot of phone calls or have a lot of meetings or stuff like that. But equally, you could just put your meetings on your index here. One of the examples in the book talks about splitting your clients into collections. So all of your meetings or phone calls with a particular client or a particular company go in one collection. So that when you're in that meeting with that person, the only page they see is the page of notes about them. And when you get to the end, you flip to a new page and you start a new page of notes and you add that to your index. So that is a way of using it. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying that what you're thinking of this as is not right. According to the bullet journal method book, this is not a page for planning. This is a page for logging events, which works really well if you journal, but you don't journal chronologically, because you can write in journal events and then you can write about them later without forgetting, especially if you couple it with writing notes in your daily log. And then this is a master list of immediate tasks that aren't due today. Immediate events that are coming up this month, but not due today. That's how I'm using this. And that's how it is in the book. But whatever works for you, if splitting it out into a separate index works, that's great. The monthly log where you write what happened is like an index. Yeah, it is. For me, it's a short-term index. So, like, if I've written about something, I will box it. So I wrote about my flare. I know I had a flare day. If I need to know what my symptoms were for that flare day, I know it was on Tuesday the 9th. So I could put my page number in there if I wanted to. I don't need to, because I've put my page number in the back where my medical stuff is. But yeah, I can see that using that as a way of finding conversations or ongoing phone calls or whatever, something like that, if that's what you do on a regular basis, that could be a really useful way of doing it, yeah. I never thought of thinking of this as an index, but yeah, that could work really well. Hi, Boo Boo. What? What time is it? Tell me what time it is. What's the time, Mr. Woof? What's the time, Mr. Woof? Is that right? Well, in that case, we better wrap it up. You heard the puppy, he spoke, okay? We are in no two minds about that, are we? We know the answer. We know what time it is, Mr. Wolf. That's right. So we're going to have to stop. The lives are helping immensely. That's good. I'm glad they are. Once the One Book July thing is finished, assuming I continue with my bullet journal, I'm planning on doing these on an ongoing basis, but obviously it won't be every day. I might do one live a month, maybe 2 ongoing videos a month or something like that, just to keep you up to date with things and keep ideas flowing. I really want to help people who have implemented this method to keep going with it after July 31st. And I think one of the ways I can keep myself going with it is to keep innovating, keep thinking about it, keep coming up with ideas, keep offering my help and experience to you guys to help you keep going with it. Because I think once July happens, a lot of people will keep going into August for about 2 weeks and then suddenly they'll stop because the momentum is no longer there. But I think for those of us who want to keep going with it, having a constant additional thing, a constant check-in, how are you getting on, what are you struggling with, what are you innovating, what have you found is useful, and being able to do it as a community is going to be really helpful. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining me again for another live stream. If you have suggestions for videos you'd like me to see bullet journal method, and I am not an expert on bullet journal method, I'm just sat here implementing it, okay? If you want the expert view, go and check out Ryder Carroll and the bullet journal channel, okay? He's the expert, not me. I'm just doing my thing. But so far, I'm really enjoying it and I'm finding it useful. And if I can help others to find it useful, so be it. Oh, and by the way, the bullet journal account followed me this morning on Instagram. I'm like, woo! So excited. So anyway, yeah, I plan on keeping this going at least until the end of the year, because I think after 6 months, anybody who's still keeping going with it is probably going to continue keeping going with it. And let's see where we are by Christmas, yeah? Let's see. I certainly plan on doing at least one live and at least one additional video for, you know, thoughts I've had, BuJo hacks I've come up with, little things I'm trying out or found that I think others might find useful. Thinking going down to a B6 and an A5 at the moment, and it's a bit too big. That's why I like my moleskins, because they're A5 slim. They're between the A5 is too wide and Midori TN is too thin, because the Midori TN is the A5 narrow, which is too thin, and the A5, like the Leuchtturm, is too big. So the halfway point in between is the moleskin for me, and I absolutely adore the moleskin expanded. This is my perfect notebook. I've got my perfect notebook, and I'm 2 days away from having my perfect pen. I think by the time I have my perfect pen and my perfect notebook, and I've got my perfect journal method, so far this is the perfect journal method, I think I'm going to be kicking ass and taking names for the rest of the year. Although I probably won't take names, because that's not all that important to me. It won't really add to my bullet journal, so I don't think I'll bother. Thank you guys for joining me. I will see you again next week. If you have ideas for videos you'd like me to do, I never finished that sentence. That was a squirrel. Put them down below, not on the live chat here. Put them down below in the comments after the live stream has finished. I cannot see stuff in the live stream. Or just comment on another video with a suggestion that you have that you'd like to see me do. Okay? Thanks for joining me. See you again soon. Bye, guys.